Come on, boomers. Start behaving.
A friend of mine was actually a massive fan of Zach Brown. His absolute dream is to become Zach Brown himself.
Really?
Yeah.
Zach Brown's pretty cool, though.
He is,
He's
but
probably watching this video.
But he's not hacking it. Sorry.
KW makes the perfect suspension for every demand. Find them in the description below. Oh, what's up, people? We are back today. I am here with Gene, the man formerly known or possibly currently still known as the Hamster. Dude, what's up?
I'm good. I'm good.
No, I said what's up. I didn't say how you were.
Well, the ceiling.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, so anyway, he is here today. Wait, why are you here and how did you get here on your own?
I have a license now.
Oh, Gene is back. And okay, what is distracting us behind the camera? Very immaturely, I might add.
An old man.
Yes, Boomer,
Yeah?
Boomer. No, you're in the
What?
view.
Oh.
That's your best. Look at this, people. Look at it. Jacob the Boomer is in fact back, which is very exciting. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Good to be back.
How's your summer in life?
It was wonderful.
Okay, I dig that. All right. And then what else? Don't we have? We've got a Boomer Final Edition here. We figured that out.
Yeah.
What are we doing today? Why are we all here?
We're having fun with you in the garage.
That's you guys made a mistake. That doesn't
We're
happen.
just here goofing around.
We know. Gene and I here being the mature ones, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Okay, but in all honesty, what's behind us? We got the
He's
IndyCar.
mature.
Okay. Come on, boomers.
They're
Start behaving.
They're being mature.
Okay, so anyway, back behind us is the IndyCar chassis at Genius Garage, and we've got a lot of parts here. One of which is the big, hefty boat anchor oil pan on the K-Series. I called it a boat anchor lovingly because it hasn't been lightened yet. Now, there are a number of things that don't fit that were a bit of a mistake in design. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to bolt those things together, see what fits and doesn't, so that Genius Garage in the future we can know where this project needs to go and what we need to do in order. So, do you have anything clever to say?
Absolutely not.
Good. Let's time lapse this. Yes. We put the engine on the table. Look how smart we are. Nobody has ever done that in the history of the world or YouTube, right?
Not at all.
Okay, so anyway, that's the first step. It's fun to do. So now we're gonna have to check out the flywheel and get that bolted on and whatnot. But it's time for an interlude. So Jacob over there, what was this entertainment you were talking about relating to karaoke?
Well, we had a little karaoke edition at the LeaderCons, and I can't sing. You can tell from this voice, it's not a quality singing voice, but I can be entertaining.
Have you ever seen Winnie the Pooh sing?
No.
Interesting thought. If anybody's seen that, let us see it. Okay, so I got something for Gene here. Do you know what I got for you?
I do not.
Yes, you do.
Do I?
You should. Okay, hold on. All right, you guys, so we're working on a Formula car. It's an Indy car. That's pretty cool. And for all of those of you who watch my channel, you will remember I was at the Velocity Invitational. Wait, that's not the right magazine. Oh, yeah. Yes, and I have, oh, look at the program from the Velocity Invitational here. Hamster, now do you know what I have for you?
I do now, yes.
Oh, what do you think it is?
A signature from Zach Brown himself.
Why did you want me to get that signature for you?
A friend of mine was actually a massive fan of Zach Brown. His absolute dream is to become Zach Brown himself.
Really?
Yeah.
So how about you? You're more of a fan of Mika
Yeah.
than Zach Brown?
Yeah.
Zach Brown's pretty cool, though.
He is,
He's
but
probably watching this video.
But he's not hacking it. Sorry.
You really have a way of complimenting people there.
We're going to come back to this conversation and keep working on this car. Yes. All right, you guys, so I thought I would go over this and review it because from the time lapse you could tell from the body language that something is wrong. Now, I do want to preface this with this car and the assets relate to Genius Garage, which is in fact a learning experience for students. So there were some big mistakes here, I'm going to be honest. And we're going to talk about them so that everybody can understand and learn together. This is in no way a negative thing toward the past and students who were learning. I want you to all keep that in mind. So with regard to this is the adapter plate that would exist for the Honda K series that will go to the transaxle or transmission of the X-Track for this 1997 Reynard. Now, the studs that are coming out here, these are the 6 bolts that go into the Reynard. One of them was off a little bit already. We knew that it wasn't going to fit, so we were going to make that work. Now, the measurements on these type of things that are more difficult to get when you're measuring are the points relating to the engines. They're different. They're in wherever the manufacturer did it, whether it's the oil pan or on here. Now, those are relatively close. Some of them are spot on. Others, like this one, are off by 1/8 of an inch or more, which is miles in machining. But the big problem here that you may or may not be able to see is the bottom of this plate was to be flush with the oil pan, and it is off by right about 1/2 of an inch. My eyeball's saying about 0.45 of an inch. And these holes here, while they're the right spacing, these were to mate up to the pan. So my eyeball micrometer is telling me that more or less the output flange for the engine is centrally located for the circle cut out here. So I'm hoping / assuming that the center point for the transaxle as well as the engine are relatively on. However, these holes were to go to the oil pan and they are off by 0.4 of an inch. I am not certain as to why this happened, but the frustrating thing is here for the young person and the leadership relating to doing this is there was a lot of time spent designing this and every opportunity for every measurement tool and everything to do this. However, the work was not checked, period, which frustrates me as a leader and a teacher because I can't do the work for them. All I can do is oversee it and help and guide and lead and ask the question specifically, did you check your work? How did you reference this? Was it a center point? Was it to here? How are you bringing these together? In what way did you measure them? And the questions that I ask relate to the proper methods to do it so that we can ensure that something has happened, going the right direction. Well, clearly, there were things not done or not done the way I was told. So the sad thing about this project is the young man who was designing this made a lot of mistakes and he did not communicate even when asked direct questions. And I hope that this will be a fantastic growth experience for him for the future. Because to be successful in engineering or business or anywhere else, one of the most important thing is, if you guys remember from the Zach Brown interview, is you got to realize your mistakes and own up to your mistakes. And I think those were the first two pieces of advice that Zach Brown, the current CEO of McLaren F1 from the racing world and business world, said. And that was one of the things that I was frustrated with myself as a teacher, that I was not able to inspire as much growth as I would have liked in people. So, how are we going to fix this for the future with the students? The oil pan has issues. The studs that go to the monocoque, they were referenced off the center line with the spacing, so the measurements were off by a factor of 2. Unfortunately, they're so far off that we will be able to remachine the pan to at least as a rudimentary mock-up. The sad part is this piece also that's precision machined is in fact now worthless for actually using it, and is a very expensive and time-consuming template for us to design. I am hoping that the tiny flywheel will be usable. It initially started out as also not usable and had to be turned down. So that's where we're at, and it's a learning experience. It costs a lot of time and some money, and stopped the project from being where it needs to be, but it's going to be a good learning experience for future students and hopefully for everybody out there to come. And I hope that the student that was doing this will be able to grow from this experience, because I think it's going to be a pivotal moment in his career and life if he's able to do so. And that's just it. And I hope you all only say positive words of encouragement right now and nothing negative, because this is to be a positive learning experience. So we're going to keep going and seeing what we can bolt together and see how far off we are with things, so that this project can be consolidated in its own pile, not take up the whole shop until next time with students, and also so that the parts that may be salvageable I can get to a machine shop and get fixed. So if anybody knows, for the billet lower pan, we have to bore 1/2 inch approximate holes into the end. So it's quite long. So that means if you're on a mill, it needs to be nearly 20 inches high and be able to held and precisely drill, or an end mill. So if anybody in the Northwest Ohio or Southern Michigan area have access to that, that would be really helpful to get that done. And I appreciate it if you all have that somewhere else in the country, but it's very expensive to ship this aluminum all around the country, as we found out. So that's that, but let's go on to the next time lapse and see what else fits or could use a little work. A bit of a disappointment relating to this piece and how it works. This is done by a young man who measured all the points to the best of what he thought his ability was, and a little disappointed because he didn't check his work even when asked directly. However, this is a really fantastic thing that this has happened right now on camera, and I don't mean this as a platitude. I really seriously mean this, and I'm also really excited that Gene's here representing, what are you representing, Generation Z?
Apparently.
That's good. And then behind me are two boomers. Now, here's the specialty thing. Since the advent of computers and personal computers, I'd say since the 1980s and 90s, universities, especially in the United States, have been selling people going to college degrees largely upon CNC, CAD, etc., just pushing it. And we started getting rid of the trades, people doing machining and welding and actually drafting on an old table with a T-square. And that's a problem, but nobody's really been able to articulate why, and we're going to do it today. So what Gene has here is a piece that was painstakingly designed over weeks by a young man on a CNC who's pretty good with that, on a CAD program, yes? And this was punched out on a CNC to tight tolerances. And this piece, and I'm not exaggerating, right now is nothing more than something to recycle. It's completely junk. It cannot be salvaged in any way, shape, and form, and it's worthless. Now, the reason I say that is because behind me right now, Jacob, the King Boomer. Jacob, hold your piece mightily in the air. Oh, he's getting there with his clamps and such. Do it. Yes, gloriousness. So, Jacob, what is this piece you have here that's brilliant? But before you answer that question, how long did it take you to make the piece you have right there?
Well, first of all, do I look like I'm giving a diving score, you know?
You look like Moses. And
I only have one tablet, though.
He has seen the face of God. That's why his hair has turned a beautiful silver color. He's aged.
It's not silver. It's antique blonde.
How long did it take you to make this piece, Moses?
Well, cutting everything like that, maybe half an hour.
So you got a half an hour in this. Now, you have a pretty little hole right there in the middle. It's all precise and stuff. What does that pretty little hole go on?
That perfectly matches the input shaft for the transmission.
And the input shaft of the transmission is important because that is a point in space that has to perfectly meet up on the same line in a perpendicular to the plane of a mating surface to the engine's output shaft. Is that correct, Sir Boomer?
That would be correct, sir.
So those are the most two important points. They have to line up perfectly so the engine, when it's spinning, spins the transmission without problems and misalignment. Now, the next thing is we got to get all the bolt holes of the engine to be on a plate, as well as all the bolt holes of the transaxle to be on a plate. Now, we've completely screwed it up after weeks or months of work on CAD and measuring it and spending a lot of money. And so what is the brilliant way that you and I have come up with to do this with two pieces of metal?
We're going to make a template. We're going to have a center hole here that matches on the output shaft and input shaft, and then we'll just mark the holes in the template, put one on top of the other, and mark our plate.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain that as well. So he's got a piece of aluminum here that's metal, it's rigid, it's great. He did a precise hole that literally fits over the input shaft of the transmission, so boom, it's located. Then this is going to get clamped to the actual transaxle that's going to be used, and we're going to put a tightly fitting piece of metal, either a bolt with a point, what do we call the, no.
Transfer punch?
Yeah, transfer punch, or even a drill bit. You put it in there, and all you do is you keep the plate from rotating, you hit it with a hammer, you make a little mark, and then he can go and precisely, with a drill press, not a CNC machine, drill each hole perfectly. And then he's got this template and plate for the transmission, and then we go and do exactly the same thing for the engine. So you take those two metal templates for both, line them up on the center hole, and then the only thing you have to do is get the inclination and the clocking right so that your transaxle rear suspension isn't tweaked. Boom, right?
All we have to do is line this up, clock it properly, and we're there.
Exactly. Carry on, thank you. So here's the thing, you guys. This is a majorly important part of Genius Garage, and I've kind of cemented my attitude here. We do not use CAD. We do not use 3D printers. I don't have CNC machines here. I don't want computer-operated things here, including programming fuel injection and ignition. And the reason why is, I'll give you an example. So if you've got an ECU and you're going to program fuel maps and ignition curves, et cetera, on an engine, I don't want young people to be able to do that with the computer and spend months and months and months to do something which they have no seat of the pants feel for until you can do it with an actual distributor, curve, a timing light, and tuning a carburetor. If you can't tune a carburetor and do an ignition curve, you have no business tuning fuel maps. That's my opinion. The other thing is, if you don't understand the basics of machining and drafting and trades that universities don't like, you have no business on CAD and measuring things in the real world because it's not going to fit. And the few times in Genius Garage where I've tried to implement CNCs, CAD, 3D printing, etc. You get a bright young student that spends the whole year hardly designing anything and almost nothing fits. And what I've come to learn is the most valuable thing of Genius Garage, whether we're working on an IndyCar, an old Corvette like right here, the old Genius Garage Corvette, or frankly even that F1 car, is until the students have a seat of the pants feel where they can figure it out with very basic things and do it right, they have no business touching computers and spending money to do that. And this is a perfect example of it, and I'm kind of happy it happened because one, me and the boomers, who wouldn't normally get much credit, will be able to fix this very quickly, inexpensively, and perfectly, and it'll work beautifully. But it's also an opportunity for everybody to learn from this.
We marked our hole, we're ready to go.
He's already ready, and it's totally gonna work. What do you got, Doug? Say something great.
Something great.
Well done, sir. Gene, you almost never speak, and when you do, it's quiet. What do you want to say about Zach Brown or Meek Hakkinen?
All jokes aside, I do want to thank Zach Brown for giving us the signatures. It was really nice of him for him to take time out of his day to sign those magazines. So I want to say thank you.
Well done, sir.
Well done.
I'm proud of you. He's learning.
Yeah.
Okay, what should we do with you next year? What do you want to learn?
I don't know. I want to go racing.
Karts?
Anything, really.
Possibly like it if I helped you do that a little bit in some way, shape, or form?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's something I'm going to say to you. If I'm going to help you, what are you going to do to help the world? If I'm going to be philanthropic toward you, what are you going to do to be philanthropic toward other places and people?
Maybe when I'm old like you,
You really have that complimentary way about you, you know that?
He was doing so well.
I'll help more young people when I'm old like you.
Why don't you do it now?
Now.
Okay, I'll make you a deal. I'll help you get into go-kart racing if you come up with a brilliant way to make your community, environment, nation, or other people around you, and you help them in an equal or better way. How about that?
Absolutely.
Okay, you brainstorm on that, and I'll brainstorm on how to help you with karts. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, Zach Brown. And what else do we want to say?
Thank you for watching.
Oh, yeah.
How about measure twice, cut once?
No, because I've seen people measure 1,000 times and get it wrong. Yeah, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. On that note, hit that bell and subscribe. See you guys next time. This was a total mess. Well, there's only one racing suit I've always dreamed of owning, and that's a Hinchman. Since 1925, Hinchman Racing Uniforms has been supplying suits to drivers ranging from Dale Earnhardt, Mario Andretti, and even Steve McQueen in the movie Le Mans. So guys, when it's time to go racing and you guys want to be safe and look amazing, let's go classic American. Get yourself a Hinchman.